No, I think that this is a transition. We had to make a transition in order to help the country, in order to help and to get bigger and to get more evolved. And the IT systems, are getting more and more advanced. And thank God for Derek. My goodness, I can't praise him enough.
Okay, your time is up. Thank you.
Okay, you bet.
You're ready to pass it to Theresa.
Oh, absolutely. I love to hear TJ talk.
Okay, TJ, you can do a different topic or whatever you want to choose, or continue this one. I'm starting your clock. Take it away.
Okay, thank you. Maybe the second hour, we had a lot of getting used to talking with each other, but I told people we're going to set a tone, I hope, for getting to know you guys' soul. Oh, my goodness, that was loud. That was from one of my other phones. But the Department of Justice has civil rights, and you remember 1964, we did have something set up where, at least growing up, I remember from when we got this law enforced on civil rights that, whether we use it correctly or not, but it was the 7th, it's B22, that's 7 of the Civil Rights Act of 1964. So I did look it up. But I'm not going to go into the details, folks. You can look it up yourself in the Department of Labor, but you'll remember how it changed as far as discharge pay. I'll just read these little things. Fringe benefits, job training, classification, referral, and other aspects of employment on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, or national origin. The law is enforced by the Civil Rights Center, but the non-discrimination based on race, color, national origin. And we heard a lot about that growing up, and unexpected in the United States, but change came, and we give a lot of people credit. And this is a time when we know different people a lot of people helped build this. We got this country started based on the fact we wouldn't want to pay taxes to the king and queen, I guess you could say, over in the old country. Now, some of my relatives came from Ireland during the potato famine. I know that, and so I know I'm part Irish. I know I'm part English. I know I'm Nordic because Thurmond came from Thurber, but it meant Thor's protection. I went over in Europe and looked it up myself back in the day. Now it's easier. We have the Internet. You don't have to go track it down because so much of the intelligence, the information, if correctly, you got to process it, is in the computer. So I'm all about free speech and sharing intelligence and education. But the civil rights, the thing is we enact them, but we need to enforce them. So, we do that a lot with our HIPAA laws, and a lot of us don't know what HIP. Well, the HIPAA laws, you think about your medical records, but now I know the richest man in the world bought all the ones where my daughter and mine were kept with the Ascension Center, our Sacred Heart hospitals, basically, but it's the Ascension records. But I want to see us evolve, and I think we need to be part of the solution, not part of the problem. So people are going to have to decide if they want to define how we're going to create an association that helps each other. And I don't see why it can't be like my black and white and brown. We're Mexican, we're white, we're black, but why we can't all get along since we do our best. If we fight, it's over something stupid, but we're family, we're blood, and it's all intermixed. So it's like Karen says, really, if you think about it, we're not from here anyway. Seedling, you go back to your parents and their parents and their parents and their parents. You got to go back. We used to say 5 generations, and when I was going, back to do genealogy, but I was a Latter-day Saint and Mormon for a while too, and they were the only ones trying to keep all the good records. But there's going to be saying you want to go all the way down to the preliminaries because I'm an independent, but you got to decide: is your vote important? Is your vote important? It doesn't matter what your skin, but what do you think? What is your opinion? If you feel like a lot of people can't, it's been taken away, they can't vote. But for those of you that can, we need to if you've got a human body, I think you ought to be able to vote. That's my personal opinion. But I think everybody should have a vote in every country in the world. And, they take taters out, but we need to think, are our leaders honoring, are they talking about race, color, religion, the laws that enforce our civil rights? And so I'm going to do what I can to help human security. So I'll pass it. I don't know if my time's up or not. Feels
You're
like
almost
it.
up. Okay, good. Let me cancel that. Okay. So, I'm devoted to figuring this out on some way how to improve this and all the other things that are affecting humanity and this planet negatively. I've identified my higher self soul mission, and I find myself working on this in my sleep, and I wake up and I tell my husband, I've been working all night, and I was working on this problem and that problem. So I'm going to look at these YouTubes and add them to the show page. But I remember years ago I saw a thing where Morgan Freeman said, I'm not African. So one of the assumptions, and I'm going to do some articles and research this myself, is like the history of slavery. I know from my research into the ancient alien stuff and the Anunnaki is that we were created as a slave race. So everybody that's a human being was created for the purpose of slaving. And the Anunnaki created us back in the mines of South Africa, and Michael Tellinger's got all this information. He lives down in South Africa, and he's identified Enki's mines and Enki's lab, and so there's some verification on the Sumerian texts. And so, but, how did we get from there to here? And I've read a lot of history books. My husband has a library with thousands of books, and he's a history buff, but he's also a college professor, and so I ask him questions about this time and that time, and so humanity has a history of conquering, going from one place to another place, and sometimes they're different colored people, and they're different, religions. Sometimes they're the same, and it doesn't make any sense, but, they mark people sometimes like cattle. They put, things to identify them as slaves, and so they come and conquer, and now you're a slave. And then we went all through the history doing this back and forth across the planet. But somehow this modern slave movement, I know there's a guy named Wilberforce. I have it queued up. Black Slavery, the Truth. William Wilberforce, and one of my former roommates, Wilberforce was her ancestor. So England, there was a wonderful movie about, they ended slavery long before the United States. The United States has always been behind. We were one of the last ones to get rid of slavery. But Morgan Freeman, he said, I've got to rewatch this, that I'm not African. I went, wow, that's interesting. What does he mean by that? So he, if I recall correctly, he said, well, there were more people here that were black, meaning their skin was black, but also that had the features that were indicated they were from Africa origin, right? Because in South America, and you might have encountered that when you were down there, Karen, there were the Olmecs, statues of the Olmecs, and they looked like they came right from Africa. But the Olmecs had been there thousands of years. So we had a global society. So I think that's what Morgan is saying, that the records about how many people were brought over as slaves does not match the amount of ships that were here in the population. So there was a much bigger Native American black culture than we ever could imagine. So I think he was trying to somehow make a point there, and I've got to go watch it again. I'm so sorry. I don't remember exactly the point. So anyway, what is the solution? How can we get to the next reality where we are accepting and tolerant of each other? And so there was a YouTube earlier, I wish I would have grabbed it, where I think it was a young white girl walks up to Al Sharpton, and she said something really cool, and I forget what it was, something about, about balancing and equality, and she was like a young girl, under 10 or something. So I'm going to go see if I can find that. So he quoted her, and so this generation, this young generation, and I don't know what generation they are. I'm a baby boomer, and then we have the, Generation X, and we have the millennials, and I don't know, I haven't kept track of it, but this new generation, I think they're finally getting it. And my hopes are in the next, 50 years or 20 years or 10 years, I hope sooner rather than later, we finally, it's like, this is very loaded sentence, but it's like I don't see color, but sometimes I'm talking to someone and I don't see color. And then I go, oh, that's right, they're black, or I have a very dark Native American friend, and I mean, you could open up an encyclopedia for Native American, and his picture would be there. He's beautiful. I think he's absolutely beautiful soul, beautiful person. And I've done what's called a tantric puja, where you have 100 people in the inner circle and 100 people in an outer circle. And when you go past each other, you just look in each other's eyes, and you see it. You see everybody's genetics in them, and you see their soul. And usually I can only make it about 50 people, and then there's just tears going down my eyes, and I'm looking for a Kleenex because my nose is running. So I'm going to end with that. But that's how beautiful everybody is. If you can really take the time and talk with someone and look in their eyes and get to know them, I think it really is just so incredibly beautiful. It's amazing how beautiful humanity is. Okay, I'm going to stop. Pass to Karen. Your turn, Karen.
Oh, okay. I agree with you on that's beautiful. I don't have any more to say about racism or all this. I do have something. I do have something to say about spirituality, religion, belief in the higher self, and trusting the self. Meaning, we have to trust ourselves, and this is all part of seeing our own power, meaning power of our value of self, and our ability to unconditionally love ourselves. I think that there's a religion issue too, as well as the racial one and all that. And I think that as humans on this planet, we need to respect everybody's religion and respect. There's only one source. There's only one God, the source, the cosmic force is God. And there's only one. There's only one. But there are many ways that people take this. And I think that we should accept and love those people for how they take the meaning of God. And I know that the light, is that like a computer?
My phone is dinging. I'm sorry. My phone is dinging. Ignore.
I thought it was
Ignore.
Maybe that's telling me to be quiet. I don't know.
No, but I'll tell you when it's the alarm.
No, I think that that's very important. I really do. I think that people should be, that's a big story. It's just a big subject, and I don't know if I can handle it. But I personally have a respect for everybody's religion from love, whether they're Catholic, Protestant, Hindu, Arabic, Jewish, the whole thing. And there's good in everything. I mean, there's something great and excellent about the Kabbalah, for example. That's Jewish mysticism. And then there's so much about Sufism in the Arabic culture. And within the Christian, there's Jesus was the one. I mean, I pray to him every day. And I see him differently. He came here to deliver a beautiful message and to try to get the picture out hugely. And you can get results from when you pray to him. You can get results if you know the synchronicities pretty much quickly, like instantly, if the force blends. And everybody can do this. And if you use him as there's also Archangel Michael. There are many others, but I just named a few. But I think that that's a very important